Okay, so at the moment we are allowing users to register, and unfortunately we are by default not allowing them to log in. The reason being is if I go over to my database table, we have this active column here, and if you remember back when we were creating the login process, we were checking this value, and if it was 0, we weren't allowing the users to log in. So let's just take a look at a quick demonstration. So my users table is empty. I've deleted my user account from before. So let's go ahead and register a new account here, and I'm going to call this Billy. I'm going to go ahead and give a password twice, first name, and then I'll just say Billy at phpacademy.org. Click on register. We're registered. Okay, so to the end user, which I now am, I'm going to go ahead and just log in. Enter my password and click login. Okay, so we get this error. We tried to log you in, but you haven't activated your account, and that is because when we register the user, we have this. Let's just have a look. Oh, sorry, no, we need to be in the login file. There we go. So if user active username equals false, we have this function in here, user active, which checks whether the user's account has been activated. So the point of this video, we're going to look at actually forcing the user to activate their account by email. So for things like spam, automated signups, things like that, we need a user to physically go to their inbox, click a link, be redirected to our website. Obviously that will change depending on where you're hosting your site. And then it'll pass through the email address and a special code that we're going to generate, and that'll activate the user's account, and we'll have a series of checks. Now it's not actually a very hard process at all. I'd say probably the hardest thing here would be to actually get email working if you're testing locally. So if you're on your computer right now using Apache and MySQL as part of a package or on its own, so XAMPP or WAMP or something like that, you may find that local mail is not going to work straight up. It almost won't. Now I've configured my php.ini file and my sendmail.ini file, configured that to phpacademy.org's mail servers that allow me to send mail from my PC. Now you probably won't have done this, and you can't do this because you need username and password authorization. So if you do have an SMTP server that you can use, maybe your college or your school or university, whatever, then you can go ahead and do that, and they may allow it. However, if not, then I recommend you upload this, what you're working on now, to a public server so you can use the PHP mail function. And the PHP mail function is extremely simple to use. So the first thing we're going to do is go ahead and look at this, and if you are following along, go ahead and test this and see if it works. So I'm just going to go ahead and save this in my root directory, and I'm just going to call it mailtest.php. So the mail function looks like this. It takes typically 4 parameters. 4 is all we need really. The first one is to, so the email address that we are sending to. The second's the subject, then the body, and then the headers of the email. Now all we actually need to send an email, and this isn't to send an email efficiently, i.e. it might be caught by spam control or anything like that. There are more advanced methods of sending email, but for now we can stick to this. If I wanted to send an email to say Billy at phpacademy.org with the subject hello and the body hello, this is a test email. Now the headers is we can specify where the email comes from, and this is all that's really required. It's not even required for most cases, but here we can add a sort of a user-friendly name. So I could say from hello at phpacademy.org, for example. So when I run this script, we're going to send an email to this address with this subject, this body, and this header, which will say from. So let's go ahead and check this out. So mail test.php, and everything seems to have not worked, but no errors have been returned, and when I refresh the email account here, I'm logged in to my email, and this is external email as well. I have this email, and that's been sent from my PC, and you'll see there it's from hello@phpacademy.org to obviously this email account, and hello, this is a test email. So when you're in the position where you can use email, then you'll be able to actually allow your user to activate by email. So I mean, this has been somewhat of an introduction, but we'll obviously look at actually getting in and doing this in the next part of the video. This is really just to warn you that you are going to need to be able to send email from your account. Anyway, the process that's going to happen here is, as I said, we're going to modify the register page, not very much. We need to create a new field in our database which will store this activation key. We'll be emailing the user a link that they can click on or copy and paste and paste into their browser URL bar. And what this will do is it will pick up their email address in this code. It will obviously make sure that that email address exists, so we don't want to be validating any accounts that don't exist, otherwise we'll return an error. We want to check that the email address and the code provided match on the same account. So for example, billy@phpacademy.org, and the code will be some long MD5 hash of the username plus the microtime. We'll get into this in a moment. It's not very complicated. And from there, if the two pieces of information match, we'll update the table and set active to 1, obviously where that user account is. We won't be updating all of them. So it seems like a relatively difficult thing to actually do, but if you logically think about it, there's steps that you need to take in order to allow users to activate their account, and it's not actually that hard. We'll probably just take up a couple of parts of a video. So this has been the almost introduction, because I thought it deserved an introduction, and in the next part we'll be moving on to actually getting this working and starting to modify everything. So in the next part we'll start to get this working.